But right now, I want to stay on the education issue, zeroing in on Loudoun County, where the school district permanently removes its suspension of Tanner Cross as a lawsuit against the school district's transgender policy continues. Joining me now to talk about what is happening there in Loudoun County and the school district's policy 8040, our friends at the Alliance Defending Freedom have been at the forefront of that. And one of the attorneys leading that is Tyson Langhofer. He is with us. And his client, Loudon County Public School teacher Monica Gill, is here with us as well. Tyson, Monica, welcome to Washington Watch.
Thanks for having us, Tony.
Absolutely. Tyson, I want to ask you first, before I go to Monica in her case, because Monica has joined the lawsuit with Tanner regarding the 840 policy and the pronoun usage and the bathroom usage. But you had a victory today in a settlement with the Loudoun County School District. Tell us about it.
Sure. So after the district court entered an injunction against Loudoun County and reinstated Tanner, and then the Virginia Supreme Court affirmed that, the school board has now agreed to make that injunction permanent. So now they are permanently stopped from punishing Tanner for anything he said about policy 8040 up to the time of the injunction. And they also are required to remove any evidence of that suspension from his personnel file and then pay us $20,000 in attorney's fees. So it's really a complete victory for Tanner and, frankly, for all teachers, freedom of speech and religion to comment on really important policy issues that are being considered by their school boards.
Yeah, once again, though, a victory that you could not have achieved had Tanner not been willing to stand up and face the opposition. And so that's why it's so important that we have teachers like Tanner and Monica, who joins us, who are willing to stand up and fight this government overreach. Monica, thanks so much for joining us today. Let me ask you this question first. Why did you decide to join ADF's lawsuit against this transgender policy?
Thank you for having me. Well, I think, the big issue is that I've been questioning a lot of what our school board has been doing for a while now. They've been pursuing policies that are ideological. They're not educational. I had my eye on policy 8040 for a while as they were considering it. And when they passed it, of course, that was a concern. I had some concerns back when Peter Vleming was fired for the same issue. And then when they put Tanner Cross on leave, I knew that would put me in danger as well. So I wanted to join the case because this is a bigger issue. It's not just about my free speech rights. It's also about these kids and the harm that the policy is doing to them. So it's all encompassing.
Well, and I would think that since you've joined the case and of course the settlement today, but there has been issues that have come to light over the last couple of months, that this policy has actually led to physical harm of students in the school district. Is that changing some people's minds about this policy?
I'm not sure that it's changing any of the school board's mind about the policy. They seem to be sticking pretty firm, but I think parents are even more geared up now in understanding the harm that this policy is doing. And really that's what this movement has been about. It's about parents who have concerns about their kids. And so this is something that they really are fiercely fighting about and fighting against because their kids are their most valuable treasure.
Right. Tyson, give us kind of the time frame here of when you expect something to happen with this lawsuit against policy 8040.
Well, we had our hearing yesterday in front of Judge Plowman in Loudon County, and we asked him to enter an injunction stopping the school from enforcing policy 8040 to force teachers like Monica, Kim, and Tanner from using pronouns with students that are not consistent with their biological sex. And the court took that under advisement and indicated that he would issue a ruling on that sometime after Thanksgiving, but probably prior to Christmas. So we're looking at several weeks out and hoping that the court, continues to protect teachers' rights and protect the right for them to not speak messages that would be harmful to their students.
Right, right. Monica, final question for you, and thank you again for not only coming on today, but for being in the classroom and being willing to stand up for truth, biological truth, science, whatever you want to call it. What have you heard from some of your fellow teachers? What do they think about what's happening?
Well, there's a lot of concern. There's a lot of chatter in the teacher workrooms, particularly about the most recent events with the assaults. And, there's a lot of concern. I have had a lot of quiet support from many of my colleagues saying, you're doing the right thing. We appreciate you. But there is a lot of fear from them as well about really being bold and speaking out because they saw what happened to Tanner and, there's hesitation. But I know that there's a lot of prayer, from them for us on our behalf and a lot of support, quiet support. So I really appreciate that.
Well, Monica, we appreciate you coming on. Tyson, appreciate you and all the work that ADF does as well. And we'll continue to watch this very closely and prayerfully as it is hopefully resolved in a good way to the protection of teachers and their rights, as well as the students and their well-being. Monica, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.